Hi guys, so the day has finally arrived. Hallelujah, praise God. Candace Owens has finally opened her eyes and her mouth and is now finally criticizing Erika Kirk. So now we have a Candace who can see through Erika's BS. BS that we all saw pretty much since the beginning because it was so obvious that this woman was full of it, that all these dry pats and all this crying and all these grimacing and like no tears and the hair, the makeup, the Dolce & Gabbana suit, all of it, right, was so performative and so disgusting. And a lot of us couldn't figure out, like, why wasn't Candace saying anything about any of this? Like, why? And she addressed it. She says, well, what do you guys want me to say? She hasn't really said anything. And we were like, well, she's said plenty. She's done plenty. Plenty of very sketchy, suspicious actions and just the way she's showing up, the podcasts, the monologues, the drama, the giggling, the laughing. Just all of it was just very strange. But more strange than anything else was the fact that Erika Kirk was not responding to any allegations or any conspiracy theories anywhere, and instead was carrying on as if, I don't know, it was like her dream come true. Now she's CEO of TPUSA and a multi-million dollar outfit, and she's the cover girl, right? And I've said this before, Erika Kirk reminds me not just of Tammy Faye Baker, which obviously, like, you can't not see that if you know anything about the Bakers and like Tammy Faye and like her fake crying. It's like almost verbatim, they are the same person. But Erika makes me think of who JonBenet Ramsey would have been had she lived. And for those of you who don't know who JonBenet Ramsey was, she was a little girl. She was a pageant queen at a very young age. It was really weird, and her parents put her through all this circuit, and this child was made to perform all the time. That's what she did. And then one day she was murdered in her own home, and to this very day, nobody knows. Well, somebody knows, but no one's been arrested for this murder, and it's a cold case and nobody knows anything. But when children, and this is, of course, psychology, right? When children are raised in a home where they are used as a prop or for an agenda, whatever that agenda is, and they are used to taking orders and saying lines and taking direction and looking to somebody else to tell them how they're supposed to feel or how they're supposed to speak or how they're supposed to show up, they lose an internal life. And I've said this before, Erika Kirk, in my opinion, has no internal life. And I've had commenters say, like, how could you even say that? You don't even know her. I don't have to know her. All I have to do is see how she acts in normal, regular situations and how she doesn't act to know that there's nothing going on up here. I don't think she's very bright, but I think it goes beyond that, right? I think it goes beyond the fact that she's not the most intelligent person on earth. I think it goes into the psychology of someone who was raised to perform. And many of you know all about like her parents and what they did with the government and, the different agencies that they were involved in. And I've seen videos of young Erika at political events with her mom. And you can look it up yourself. I mean, it's there, it's out there. And maybe you already have. But this shows me that none of this is new to her. This is something that she's been doing possibly her entire life. So this is just an addition. All this with Charlie and meeting Charlie and doing, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that this was all organic. First she says that she met him in Israel, but then she says, no, it was during a job interview. Well, which one was it? And there's a lot of confusion and a lot of double speak, right? So even like Mikey McCoy's father, Mikey McCoy said one thing, his father said another thing. Which one is it? These are the questions that came up after Charlie Kirk was murdered. And Erika Kirk has had no such questions as his widow. And the questions that have come up, I would think, right? If there are experts online saying like, this is wrong on its face, this narrative by the FBI is wrong on its face because of these reasons, whether it's the caliber, whether it's the positioning, whether it's whatever, that she would be the first one to say, send that to me. I want to know more. I want to get justice for Charlie. But she wasn't. She wasn't. She went on and she did all, her performing. Nobody at TPUSA was doing anything different. Everybody was just acting like it was a normal day. And that's what raised all these red flags. And so her PR people have now been, they pivoted and decided, of all things, this is just like ridiculous to me. I don't understand the logic behind this. If it were my PR firm, I would fire them all. I would start just fresh. But they have decided to put Erika Kirk in front of liberals now because conservatives aren't buying the BS. So maybe liberals will. What? The problem here, and this is why I love this story about Erika Kirk so much, because through her story, we can see exactly what they're doing. We can see exactly what they think of us, how stupid they think we are, and we can see how they're operating because she's not a good actor. So she can't pull it off. She can't pull it off in a way that will make us actually trust what's going on. But the complete opposite happens. We start questioning more and more, and she can't handle it because, again, there's no internal life. And unless somebody is telling her what to say and when to say it and how to say it, she doesn't know how to respond to anything. So now they have her on this whole circuit. She's doing the press parade and whatever, and it's just such a bad idea. The Megyn Kelly interview was gross. I'll say that straight from the top. Just the amount of pandering, and again with the pyrotechnics, and then she had the Bible and the tissue, like all these props. But then she goes in the New York Times, and that interview was completely different. I was like, what the Dracula is she wearing? Like, it was their attempt at being taken seriously by liberal mainstream media. And I just don't understand who's behind this. How did they think that was going to work? It already looks so bad. So she has the Barry Weiss interview coming up, which I'm sure is going to be extremely interesting because Barry Weiss is already getting mad flack for having Erika Kirk on her show. Like, why would you interview her? Out of all people, why would you have her there? It doesn't make any sense. Like, this woman is gross. And I honestly don't know who thought that was going to be a good idea or how much money was paid in order to make this happen. Because clearly money talks. Clearly TPUSA has a lot of it. According to Candace Owens, $140 million since Charlie's death alone. So they have the money to spend to do these PR stunts, but whoever is behind these isn't doing a very good job. They're like, oh, the conservatives don't believe you anymore. The liberals will. What? That's not how this works. These people who are handling her, the people who are like making this narrative or whatever, are still operating as if we were in the year 2021. We're not. This is a different day. They're still operating like JFK, Grassy Knoll, single shooter. We have technology. We have the Freedom of Information Act. We have all of these ways to get in contact with one another, to contact people from around the world instantly, and to share information. And we do. How did you think that this was going to play? And this is why I love her story. If you pay attention to the Erika Kirk story and you see what's going on, it will show you who's playing, why they're playing, and how they're playing. So let's get into it. I want to go through the interview that she had with Harris Faulkner on Fox. Now, obviously, Fox is, a conservative channel, or so we're led to believe. And Harris Faulkner is not a person, a professional who is going to rock the boat, right? She's not going to say anything that's like crazy or off script, or she's not going to bring in her own thoughts or bias into anything. That's why she's lasted this long, because she's able to just do her job and do what she's told. And that's it. And that's fine. I'm not faulting her. But it was very interesting to see Erika's PR firm try desperately to pivot, and how spectacularly it failed.
With Erika Kirk sharing her journey with America and the world, we are grateful at Fox to have her here to shine a light on healing as we all miss and mourn the loss of her beloved Charlie Kirk. Not all of her journey has been without, well, hate, conspiracies.
Well, hate. What is she taking lessons from the same acting coach? Like, what is this? What is it? It's so bad. I feel like I'm watching an SNL sketch. This is what this looks like to me. Let's continue.
And oddly, speculation about where her husband is buried. Now, for the first time, Erika, who's with me now, addresses all of it from the perspective of a grieving widow, a mom, and a battle-tested American. Good to see you again today.
Wait, stop. A battle-tested American? What battle? What battle? Harris, what battle? Fundraising? Fundraising is a battle now? What battle? I don't see her fighting any battle. This is the same trope that they tried to use in her first address to the public, when she was like, I am the widow. This widow will not, and I battle cry and the whole thing. Like, this is such BS. They won't let it go. They're hoping, I guess, that this trope will work. I mean, it didn't work then, but maybe it'll work now if we just keep repeating it. And no, it just sounds so fake. She's not in a battle. What sort of battle? Now, I can hear some of you are going to say like, oh, it's her internal battle and this, but she's not a battle-tested American. Battle-tested means you've been through the fire. I don't think that, I don't know, but like galas and fundraising events at Mar-a-Lago where you end up making $40 million is a battle. I don't think that getting in full, hair and makeup and showing up to like shake people's hands or texting them for money, which is perverse, but whatever, is a battle. I don't think that's like you're battle tested because you're able to raise money. Like, what is this? This is called priming. Priming is when they're going to tell you exactly how they want you to see her and whatever else it is that she says, right? So we're supposed to take this as a woman who's been battle tested and she's been proven her mettle. She has been put through the fire, you guys, and you guys have to listen to her and believe her because she is standing there. And this is, romanticizing. And I guess some guys that are like her that think she's hot or whatever. Now they're like having all these fantasies that she's like this maiden of war. And like, it's all BS. This is all priming. This is all BS. She's not battle tested. She's a widow. I'll give her that. And she's a fundraiser. I'll give her that. But that's all I'll give her. So
talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world.
Okay, first of all, Erika, you could have had all the things. You could have had all of the things, not just one thing. If you would have just stayed quiet, if you would have had an ounce of decency, and if you would have been truly mourning Charlie, you could have had all the privacy that you wanted. Nobody asked for this. Nobody was like putting cameras in your face and following you around. You're the one that got in front of a camera 2 days after. You're the one that allowed a camera to follow you everywhere that you went, and all this weeping, all this fake crying, and even disgustingly to his coffin, when you went to his coffin and you whispered whatever it is that you said to Charlie, your final goodbye or whatever. You're the one, ma'am, who had cameras and mics there. Nobody asked for this. So if you could have had all of it. Why are you saying like, can I just have one thing? You can have all of it. You could have had all of it. You chose not to. That was you. Number two, enough with the repetition. Whoever is coaching her to do this, please stop. It didn't work with the, you have no idea. You have no idea. That was ridiculous enough. And now we're going to do, can I have one thing? It's like, I don't know, what's the next? What is she going to come up with next? What are they going to come up with next? It's just so over the top ridiculous. And this fake anger, it's just like, it's not reading. Harris asks her, let's address this one thing. People are asking about whether or not Charlie is buried, right? Simple question. If it's a theory, Erika, then you would have just said, thank you, Harris, for having me on, first and foremost. She didn't even say that. She just went right into it because this is, I'm telling you, she has no internal life. She can't maneuver. She can't like pivot depending on what the question is or how, or the tone. She can't match it. She can't change, right? So she has to say things the way that it was, that she practiced it, that she rehearsed it, and that it was told to her to say, regardless of what Harris says. She can't pivot. And this is why I know for 100% fact, this woman has no internal life. But this is so off the wall, like just batshit reaction that if I were Harris, I would have been like, can somebody call security? Because I only asked her like plainly and calmly, let's get into this. Let's talk about this. And she's talking to me like it's my fault. Like this woman's about to go off. Can I just have one thing? Like, is that the way to answer a host? Like with that aggression? This is just ridiculous. I almost feel sorry for her at this point, but no.
To see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband.
Okay, enough with the dramatics, all right? Enough with the dramatics. First of all, notice that she does not actually answer the question. The question was, what is going on with these conspiracy theories that Charlie, where is he buried or is he even buried? She didn't talk about that. She diverts attention. First she says, can I have one thing? And then she says, we're going to do this like museum to Charlie. Like, why do you need a museum for Charlie? Why? Why does it have to be this tacky, gaudy, thing that you keep doing? Why does it have to be that? The question was so simple. When you ask someone a simple question and their answer is this elaborate and it's like answering questions that you didn't even ask, that's a red flag. This isn't passion. This is her desperately trying to divert attention from the questions that supposedly she's here to answer. Because that's what Harris said. She's here to answer the accusations and the conspiracy theories, and she's here to put an end to it. She could have put an end to it right there. She could have said, you know what, Harris, thank you so much for having me on your show. Yes, those are very hurtful, but I do want to assure everyone that Charlie is or Charlie is not buried yet, or he is buried, but we want to keep it quiet. We want to keep it to ourselves for security reasons. That would have made perfect sense. I don't think any one of us would have had an issue with that. That makes perfect sense. But this dramatic, like, can I have one thing? And like, somebody's going to go in there when my daughter's praying and they're going to, what are you even talking about? What are you even saying? This is so over the top. And then the museum, it's like they're trying to throw out anything, any sort of anything to divert the conversation from the questions that she is here to answer.
Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Okay, she has in-laws now. This is how I know that they're scrubbing the internet to find out and figure out what the public is seeing, like what flaws in their story the public is seeing, or what cracks in their armor the public is seeing, because the public has spoken out many, many times about the fact that Erika Kirk had never addressed Charlie's family at all. She just was talking about her and the kids and Charlie, her and the kids and Charlie, like it was nobody else existed. So they are scrubbing this internet. They are reading our comments, and they have realized that if she doesn't start talking about other people, then it's weird. You know, it's not natural. It's not normal. We got to get her talking about the in-laws and now I guess her family. So now the group has gotten bigger, right? It's just her and her kids. That's how it started. But now it's moved on to her in-laws and her family too. So now there's a bigger group. And I will tell you this, there are 6, 7 different personality types, and you can tell exactly what's important to them by just in the first few minutes of hearing them speak. And Erika is a person who needs validation. She needs to be in a group. That makes sense with what I said before about, you know, kids that are raised up to perform. They need the validation. They need somebody to tell them, yes, you're doing a good job. Yes, you're doing the right thing, because they don't have that internally. Right? So you can tell right here that she's expanding her group. Now it's, you know, it's us, it's we, it's all of us. And that gives her 2 things. It gives her validation, but it also gives her insulation, right? It's not just her who feels like this. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of them. Those closest to Charlie feel just like Erika does right now. So we're listening to how they all feel, and we need to respect that.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human.
Let me tell you something, Erika Kirk. Okay? Anyone who's actually built anything ever, whether it's a building or a company or whatever, will tell you that the most important part of building anything is the foundation. The foundation. That's because without that, without a strong foundation, it won't last. It'll break down. It's dangerous. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated and you got in place as CEO without having a shred of competency or a CV to say like, okay, yeah, you know what you're doing. You can totally run the country, God forbid, Jesus, can you imagine? You can run the company, no problem. Even though you were in place there without any experience, you still had an opportunity, right? You still had an opportunity to say, okay, fine, Charlie's not here, but I can see the vision, and I'm going to, maybe it won't look exactly the same. Maybe it'll be my version of it, but I can do this, right? I'm basically starting from scratch. You had that chance, but instead of taking that opportunity to ingratiate yourself and to build trust with other people, because Charlie did that. Charlie had trust. Whether or not you agreed with everything or anything that he said, most people could at least trust that this guy truly did believe all this. Everything that he was saying, he believed in, and he seemed to be, walking the talk. So this is your opportunity now to prove yourself in the same way. And instead of taking time, if these are just conspiracies, Erika, if none of this is real, then it should be nothing to you to dispel these conspiracies, because it's too easy to do that. And to build trust with people so that they know, okay, TPUSA is in good hands. It's going to move forward. But you didn't. And that's why I'm telling you right now, all of you, whoever, mark my words, TPUSA is doomed. It is doomed. Because the foundation is bad. This foundation of not answering questions, this foundation of omitting information, this foundation of false narratives, this foundation of not being concerned about the false narratives that are being presented to the public and having questions as the widow or as whatever, this is all completely ruined the brand. She has completely dogged the brand. The foundation of the brand is rotted. There's no way that this is going to stand. And it's a shame. It really is a shame, because Charlie worked really hard, but it just goes to show you, you know, the people who placed her here and whoever was involved in all this and thought that, you know, they could just replace him easily and put her there and she'll just say whatever we tell her to. Yeah, she will. Absolutely, she's doing it. But this woman has no internal life. She can't connect with people because she doesn't know how to unless you tell her to and you're giving her super bad advice. So this is just a mess on its face. But you're too busy building. Okay, you're too busy fundraising. That's what that is.
We're all grieving in our own way, and they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard, and I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned.
Is that a joke? Is that a joke? You hand it over to the authorities for what? For what? You trust? Should we trust that you're handing it over to the authorities and that the authorities are going to do something about it when no one's done anything about it and they have one guy in custody and we're supposed to believe that he worked alone and there's all these questions about, you know, the planes and this, that, and the other and flight logs and whatever, and you're going to tell me that we should trust, oh, you gave it to the authorities, oh, well, they're going to take care of it. Why would we think that? They haven't taken care of anything up until now. So you saying this is just ridiculous on its face, Erika. I don't know if you, that's not true. I know for a fact that there's no inner editor inside your head that's saying like, this sounds crazy. Like people aren't going to trust this. Like the trust is gone. Okay. So far as authority. So me saying this isn't going to build my trust, but you can't figure that out for yourself. And somebody gave you some really bad advice. And this is not playing.
I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. Mm-hmm. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going out.
First, oh my God. Oh my God. All right. Do not, Erika, you are not in a position. And again, this is why I know for a fact that she has no internal life. Because if you have made $140 million since the death of Charlie, why are you, let me just explain something to you guys, okay? Money can be made on YouTube, yes, but no one is making hundreds of thousands of dollars on episodes about Charlie Kirk. That's not how, I mean, I wish it was like that. It's not like that. But even in a world, let's say that is actually true, you have just fundraised. You've been fundraising since the minute that your husband died. That first time that you got on camera with your white suit, your white Dolce suit, and you had, you know, the thing and the jewelry and blah, blah, blah. And you had merch. You had, you know, 47 hats in the front. It was just so gaudy and tacky and ridiculous that you're telling us now, like a person, even if they did make $100,000 off of Charlie, you know, addressing this Charlie Kirk thing and the questions around it, you're going to bemoan that. But who are you? You've been on this trail of fundraising since he died. So what is it? What is it? This is how I know you have no internal, you don't have that voice inside your head that says, no, I can't say that. That's wrong. It's not going to play. You don't have that, clearly. And this is just ridiculous. You guys are melting. This whole thing is melting, and I'm glad for it because we are not standing for this BS anymore. All of these lies, all of these shows, all of these like performative, disgusting acts that are supposed to like entrance us and get us to, no, it's not working. It is not working.
After the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because This is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French.
It's a mind virus to ask questions. Erika, if you were so concerned, if you wanted justice more than anyone, according to you, then why aren't you taking advice from experts that have been on social media saying this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, this caliber doesn't make sense, this trajectory doesn't make sense, why wasn't there EMT there, why was this happening, all of this, why, if you are more concerned than anybody else to get justice, why aren't any of these questions piquing your interest? Why aren't you interested in them? Why aren't you reaching out to these people and asking them, please give me more? Like I'm going to take this to, I don't know, I have all this money. I can figure it out. I can, get a private investigator on this or whatever, and I can figure this out. I want justice for my husband. Why instead are you shutting down? You don't have time to answer questions and you don't have time to debunk things. And they're just so ridiculous. It's beneath you and you can't figure out what? How does this play? How does this play, Erika? It doesn't. It doesn't. You get it? This is melting. We're not stupid. We can see right through this.
But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots.
That's a lie. She's a robot.
We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. I have, you name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core.
They're rocked to the core. I have yet, if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments below. I have yet to see anyone in Charlie Kirk's inner circle at TPUSA or his wife or anybody else rocked or traumatized by anything that happened. What I saw was a group of people acting as if nothing had happened and it was business as usual and like, let's just carry on. That's what I saw. What did you guys see? Because I don't understand what she's talking about when she says they're going to be re-traumatized with questions. Are you kidding me? Questions? So no investigation. So there should never be an investigation into anything, according to Erika Kirk, if it's going to re-traumatize people. If anybody has to relive it in any way, shape, or form in a court of law, if they're asked questions, if they're investigated, no, there should be no investigations because this is going to traumatize people. That's what she's telling us. Instead, I thought you wanted justice. I thought justice was the most important thing. I thought getting justice for Charlie was you're the most, you're the person who wants it the most. So why wouldn't you want to do whatever necessary to get to the bottom of things and get to the truth? Why not? Wouldn't you be willing to be traumatized again, even though I didn't see anybody do that, but let's pretend? Wouldn't they be willing? Yes, we'll do anything. We'll answer all the questions. We'll do whatever it takes if it's going to get us closer to the truth and get justice for Charlie. Why is it that people around the world who never met Charlie are more invested in getting answers than you are or TPUSA? Why is that?
So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
The conspiracies that are out there, all of the like, do you think that there is more of it now because you do shine your light? I mean, did people just expect you would just go away?
I don't know what they expected.
They pick on you because of your accessories. I mean, I've seen some of it.
Oh, yeah. No, at this point, it's the conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas.
Erika, you look like a pimp. What do you want me to say? You want me to pretend that's not true? You look like a pimp. You dress like a pimp. All these accessories, yeah, you look ridiculous. So, in this Harris, again, I feel like, poor thing, right? She's like, is it because you were shining your light too bright? What a ridiculous thing to say. I wonder if Harris Faulkner, when she was saying those words, was like throwing up in her mouth, because that is such a ridiculous thing for, a host, someone who's interviewing someone else, supposedly to bring down any conspiracy theories, which she has yet to do, and it's almost over, right? But now it's because you shined your light too bright. What is this? This is so perverse. Like, ugh.
Like, seriously, you will, if you want to find and pick me apart, go right ahead. I do not care. I don't. This was happening before Charlie was murdered. Both of us have been through the ringer of people will call you whatever they want to call you. They will. But I have seen it firsthand impact the people that I love, and I'm done. I'm done. And if people think that I was just going to wilt away, I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry and be in fetal position. This is a duty to my husband, and it's an absolute honor, and I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
And that's what we will say here on Out Number 2. God bless you. Hold up your book.
Stop in the name of God.
Amen.
Okay, so a couple of things here. The book is called Stop in the Name of God. So that's why she said stop? Or is it because she's dog whistling to Candace because Candace once said, well, if Erika asked me to stop, I would. Is that like a dog whistle to Candace? Like stop? Like I'm telling, is it a warning? What are we witnessing here? Is this a warning shot? Is she telling her like stop? Like this is me telling you to stop, so not stop? Or is it just because it's the title of the book and suddenly, we have to say stop all the time so that people can remember stop? Is this what she's being told? And number 3, stop what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? You can't stop us. This is so far beyond just Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's beyond Charlie Kirk. It's beyond Erika Kirk for sure, right? It's beyond them. This event, as tragic as it is, and yes, obviously it involves them first, but it has grown over time because of so many questions and so many different facts popping up without anyone to address anything, and ridiculous narratives that now it has grown to the point where the American people want to know what actually happened, who was behind it, and if there is a cover-up, who's behind that? Who has something to hide? Why is this so sketchy? The American people have a right to know if, in fact, this was something that was orchestrated, not by the shooter that is in custody right now, but by other powers, and where those people are from and what is going on here. We have the right to know. And Erika Kirk does not have the right to stop that. That is beyond her purview. She can cry, she can fundraise, I don't care what she does, whatever, but she can't tell us to stop. She doesn't have the right. So this is interesting to me that they've chosen this, I've never seen you like this, Harris says. This is all like playing into like, you see guys, she's mad. But one thing I did see, Harris, is that she didn't actually answer any of the conspiracies. She didn't answer anything. She could have done that 1, 2, 3 all this time. I think it's like a half an hour show. She could have just answered all the questions. Let's get into it. Let's answer them one by one so we can put this to rest, so we can move on, so that people understand where we are. They understand who we are and what we're doing and what I'm doing as CEO and who I am, and that they can trust me. This is important to me. Let's go. No, instead she's like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for questions. Just because I don't answer questions doesn't mean that I'm complicit. Then what does it mean? Oh, that I'm busy building. Building what? You're fundraising. What are you building? Without trust. What are you building? I hope you guys, honestly, I hope you guys can see this for what it is. This is how dumb they think you are. These people think that they are going to feed you this ridiculous story with this absolutely batshit woman, saying the lines and, with the hair, with the makeup, and that you're just going to eat out of her hand. And I know a lot of you still are. A lot of you are still banging on that drum. Everyone grieves differently. Are you blind? Are you blind? This is why we are in the mess that we're in. Because of people like you, people who are unwilling to see the truth. You are unwilling to deviate from what your group is telling you to see and to believe and to say and to think. And they know that. They know that all they have to do is scare you into thinking, I don't want to be the one, oh, if Candace is crazy, if Tucker is crazy, and I don't want to be thought of as crazy. I want to, I can't do that. So like, oh no, they're crazy. And like, I'm not going to even listen. I'm not going to even look at anything because I don't want to be labeled. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of being thought of as different in my group. I'm afraid of being wrong. What if I'm wrong? It's like, they know this about you. This is why they keep doing what they do. When I had my first channel, and this was, a few years ago, I started in 2020. It was New York Nadia. And if you want to see those videos, I think I have like 77 up on my Patreon, which is below. You can see them there. And I had spent 3 years with my community talking about the media, about the corruption. Like I invested, I don't know how many hours of like research and this and that and presenting everything. I covered the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. I brought every single day I was there in the courtroom. I talked about it during our lunch break and I talked about it at night. I'd run home and I'd do a live where I would just share with everyone exactly what I saw and heard during the proceedings, because the media wasn't covering it. The media was just like, oh, day 6 and nothing's happening. But they weren't giving you the play-by-play, and there was no electronic devices in there. So there was no recording. All we had was pen and paper. And I wrote furiously down every single thing that happened in there. And I'd go home at night and I'd just report it back to everyone so that everyone could know exactly what was happening. And even though we had done all this for 3 years and we had, come to the consensus that yes, the media can be trusted, Ukraine happened. And then suddenly those same people that used to say like, oh, we can't trust the media, were now saying, oh my God, did you see what happened? No, we can't let Russia. And I was like, I was in Miami at the time. And I was on the beach and I saw I got some comments and some emails saying like, you have to cover this. You have to cover what's going on in Ukraine because Russia, this, that, and the other. And I was just like, oh my God. We just spent 3 years together breaking this down, coming to a consensus. But the second they tell you what you want to hear, suddenly all that flies out the window and you believe them again. And now suddenly they're trustworthy. And now suddenly you're falling for it. And this taught me a very important lesson. As much as anybody tries to wake people up or to get people to know things, you can present a million facts. You can present, all the data and verifiable truth of something. And some people just will not want to know. They just don't want to know. They don't want to believe it. It's too scary to them to break out of their shell, to break out of their bubble, out of their mental bubble, and to realize what's been going on and to pivot and to say like, okay, well, I acted in this way because I thought this was what was going on, but now I've got new information and now I feel the need, like I have to change. Obviously, things are getting real and I have to change the way that I'm acting in the world. They don't want to do that. And this is exactly what these people are banking on. And as long as you guys are unable to face facts and pivot and speak truth to power, as long as you live in fear of losing face, which to me, I'm sorry, and I've said this before, it's the most ridiculous thing. I don't understand the fear of losing face. What does that even mean? If somebody, what does that mean? That you had one thought before, that's not what you said 5 years ago. So what? I was a different person 5 years ago. If you're still saying the same thing that you were saying when you were 18 or 20 or 30 today, there's something wrong with you. You haven't learned anything, because anybody who learns anything will pivot. That's what life is. It's growth. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to evolve. Everything in nature is supposed to evolve. And if you're not evolving, that doesn't make you tried and true. It doesn't make you, I've never changed my mind. I haven't changed my mind in 50 years. Do you think that's a badge of honor? It's not. It's not. It's scary. It's scary because what that tells me is that you've been manipulated, that you've been kept under somebody's thumb because you've already tethered your identity to what you already said. And you feel that if you changed your mind about anything, then you would be breaking your identity. Listen, you guys have to get over that. Your identity is a lot more than what you think is true today. We all learn and we all grow and we change our minds. We're supposed to. And until we can do that collectively as a nation, until we are able to like let go of labels and identity BS and whatever somebody's feeding us to make, you know, to hold our hand or make us feel special. And until we're ready to say, no, actually, I don't need you to pet me. I don't need you to tell me that I'm special. I don't need to be part of the club. What I need to do for myself and for my country is to follow the truth and to live a truthful life. That's what, for me, I'm a Catholic. That's what Christ is. I'm the truth, the light, and the way. He said it. Seek the truth. If you're a Christian, seek the truth. And stop with this nonsense, because this is going to continue. All of this scams and all of this corruption and all these atrocities are going to continue until we are ready and willing to stand up, seek the truth, and let go of everything else. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I will be covering the Barry Weiss interview if there's anything to say about that. I did an interview with a Palestinian Christian filmmaker, and I'm going to be dropping that video next. So make sure that your notifications are turned on, because I have had a couple of people tell me I haven't gotten any updates from you and things were out. So please make sure that your notifications are on. It's a very interesting interview. A lot of you asked me for that after I did my interview with Rabbi Weiss, and you guys were like, please interview, like, this is a great perspective. Please interview a Palestinian. I didn't know any, and God, because he's just so great. And I hate to say it like this is going to sound like blasphemous, but it's not. I swear it's not. But God is my guy. Like he takes care of me. Right. And like, sometimes I'm like, how is that going to happen? I don't even ask how anymore, because if there's a need, he will fill it, and that's it. And I don't know how. I can't plan it. It just gets filled. And I met this guy. He reached out to me on Instagram. He asked me, I'd love to interview you for my podcast. And I said, okay, sure. Like, I didn't know he was Palestinian or anything. And then, before the interview, we were talking a little bit, and he told me he was Palestinian Christian. I was like, this is amazing. This is beyond words. And he agreed to do an interview for my show so I can share with you guys the Palestinian point of view, someone who lived there, grew up there, and was able to leave for college and come here to the United States. And now he's an American and he is a Christian. And I think it's going to be really eye-opening for a lot of you to see that perspective as well. So please make sure your notifications are on, and I will see you guys on the next vid.